The man remained resolute, declaring that all 4 kids would enter Shrek Academy. Elder Kai reminded the older man of Wu Lin's trial, which he promptly awarded full points. With that out of the way, Wu Lin only needed to complete the 5th trial. Confident in his skills, Wu Lin accepted the challenge despite not yet reaching the 5th blacksmithing rank. The Grand Teacher challenged Elder Kai's strict approach. In response, she explained that she intended to toughen the kids up. Recognizing her intentions, the older man pondered if Elder Kai intended to mold the kids' characters. Elder Kai was surprised by Wu Lin's determination to take the makeup trial, especially since he needed to reach the 5th rank as a blacksmith. She couldn't help but question why he was so willing to attempt it, impressed by his bravery. The other elders were equally astonished, unsure if Wu Lin could actually pull it off. As they stepped into the Shrek Academy's blacksmith room, their Grand Teacher pondered how to handle the situation if Wu Lin didn't achieve full marks. He expressed frustration with Elder Kai, feeling she was pushing them away with such a high requirement. Elder Kai defended her decision, believing it would push Wu Lin to give his best. Remembering Elder Mu Chen's teachings on spirit refinement, Wu Lin grasped the deep connection between spirit power and metal. He understood that spirit refinement involved infusing one's soul force into the metal, giving it vitality. While Elder Kai thought the challenge would help shape Wu Lin's character, their Grand Teacher dismissed it as nonsense. However, as Wu Lin began forging, they all watched in amazement. Elder Kai wondered if he could truly reach the 5th rank of spirit refinement, realizing he might be capable of more than she had thought. As Wu Lin continued his intense forging, his Grand Teacher couldn't help but be in awe of his refined technique, recognizing his exceptional foundational skills. Upon hearing about the remarkable young blacksmith Mu Shi from the Blacksmiths Association, he made up his mind to pay a visit and find Wu Lin, a suitable mentor. The Grand Teacher held high hopes that Wu Lin would achieve the 4th rank before reaching the age of 20. Elder Kai, impressed by Wu Lin's forging prowess, fully supported this plan. However, she couldn't help but notice his hammering style, which was both wild and yet strangely delicate. They were all amazed by his extraordinary hammer and his remarkable control over it, leading them to conclude that he was at the very least a 3rd-rank blacksmith at the tender age of 13. Gu Yue stood there utterly astonished as Wu Lin approached the final stages of the refinement process. His Grand Teacher couldn't help but wonder if it would shine brilliantly, while Elder Kai confessed that she had never witnessed anything quite like it before. Wu Lin's comrades were equally astounded by his incredible skills. After completing the meticulous process of refining the metal, Wu Lin marveled at its ethereal, pale blue glow. Yet his sudden pause caught everyone off guard. It dawned on them that he was attempting spirit refinement, an incredibly advanced technique for someone of his age. This intricate process demanded the harmonization of spirit power, life force, and metal, and was typically pursued only after obtaining 4 spirit rings. The consequences of failure were nothing short of disastrous, even fatal. Despite the concerns that loomed over them, Wu Lin remained fully engrossed in his work, forging an unbreakable connection between his life force and the metal. In the realm of blacksmithing, a successful spirit refinement could propel a blacksmith to the esteemed 5th rank. However, it was an audacious undertaking. As Wu Lin channeled his life force into the metal, his connection grew stronger, coaxing the metal forward. He stood on the precipice of a breakthrough, one step closer to mastering spirit refinement. As the silver's mass diminished and its radiance intensified, the stakes soared for Wu Lin's triumph. Premature disconnection during the refining of his spirit would result in the loss of the metal's essence, a setback that countless blacksmiths had encountered without transcending to the next level. With each strike of Wu Lin's hammer, the heavy silver metal emitted a brilliant silver glow, accompanied by crimson veins, a reaction to the blood sacrifice. Wu Lin's spirit power dwindled rapidly, risking failure and severing his bond with the metal. Despite the peril, Wu Lin persisted. The elders recognized his predicament, possessing only 2 spirit rings for support. Failure would mean being devoured by the enraged spirit of the metal. In a moment of desperation, Wu Lin directly touched the hefty silver with his bare hands, enduring excruciating pain as it seared his palms. Unwilling to release his grip, he endured the scorching heat, his resolve unyielding despite the torment. His comrades watched in astonishment. Despite his rapidly waning strength, Wu Lin remained steadfast. His dragon claw wavered, struggling to sustain him. With his spirit power running low, he couldn't risk breaking the connection. He dedicated every fiber of his being to the task at hand. His Grand Teacher and the other elders were puzzled by Wu Lin's unconventional use of blood essence to maintain the connection. Gu Yue watched in silence, fully aware of the seriousness of the situation. After years of relentless practice, Wu Lin had mastered his 1,000 refining skills, reaching the peak of the 4th rank. The only obstacle in his path was the insufficient spirit power for spirit refining. Memories of his rigorous training flooded his thoughts as he concentrated. Success wasn't just for himself, but for his comrades' aspirations of joining Shrek Academy. Wu Lin pushed forward, fully aware that failure was not an option. As Wu Lin neared the completion of the forging process, a surge of determination arose within him. It was the moment of truth. Success or failure would depend on what would follow. His comrades watched with bated breath, worried for his well-being. Ultimately, Wu Lin delivered the final blow. A dazzling flash of golden light enveloped the hammers as they fused seamlessly with his hand, marking the end of the forging ritual. The Grand Teacher acknowledged the successful spirit refinement and was impressed by Wu Lin's mastery of both the 1,000 refinements and spirit refinement. Z couldn't contain his admiration for Wu Lin's remarkable achievement. However, the intense effort left Wu Lin drained of energy, causing him to collapse. Z hurried to his side, catching him as he lost consciousness. As Wu Lin lay there, he had ascended to the rank of a 5th-rank blacksmith, with the potential to become a divine craftsman in the future. Yet, Elder Kai intervened, reminding Wu Lin that passing the test was just the beginning. He still had to become a battle armor master by the age of 20 to gain entry into the inner courts of Shrek Academy. Z watched anxiously as their Grand Teacher stepped in to tend to Wu Lin's injuries, using his spirit energy with incredible skill. Gu Yue stood by, amazed at the display of power. However, a sense of unease crept over the Grand Teacher, and he felt a strange sensation as if Wu Lin was unintentionally sapping his spirit power. As he focused on treating Wu Lin, he suddenly felt a disturbance in his spirit power, as if it were being restrained. Peering closer, he noticed the golden veins pulsating beneath Wu Lin's skin, alive with energy. The patterns seemed to move like a dragon, emitting a powerful roar. The Grand Teacher was baffled by this phenomenon, realizing that Wu Lin's condition was anything but ordinary. Wu Lin, now awakened and brimming with a newfound sense of pride, stood by his comrades as they trailed behind their Grand Teacher. Despite the perils he had encountered during the spirit-refining ordeal, he felt a wave of relief wash over him as he emerged unharmed. His companions showered him with praise for his achievement, and Gu Yue expressed her worry for his well-being. Reassuring them that he was perfectly fine, Wu Lin gratefully accepted Z's offer of clothing, realizing they needed to keep pace with their Grand Teacher. As they hastened to catch up with him, Wu Lin looked back on his success with a sense of accomplishment. He marveled at how his blood essence had played a vital role in the spirit refinement, boosting his spirit power in the process. With the unique energy of the Golden Dragon King flowing through his veins, Wu Lin not only became the youngest master craftsman in history to complete spirit refining, but also set an extraordinary record in the process. As they neared the entrance to the inner court, Wu Lin's heart leaped with joy upon spotting Teacher Wu, who was still there. Locking eyes with their Grand Teacher, Wu Lin could see a mix of emotions in Teacher Wu's gaze. The Grand Teacher, closely observing Teacher Wu, commanded him to rise. Grateful, Teacher Wu attempted to address him as his teacher, but the Grand Teacher playfully brushed it off, stating that he didn't have a disciple as troublesome as him. Wu Lin was left speechless, and Gu Yue's face turned sorrowful, witnessing the exchange. With a sense of finality, the Grand Teacher declared that he would recognize Wu Lin and his companions as his grand disciples. Though Teacher Wu's expression remained solemn, he seemed to accept the decision. The Grand Teacher didn't explicitly forgive Teacher Wu, nor did he rule it out. In a show of deep respect, Teacher Wu then lowered deeply, expressing his gratitude as his face touched the ground. Teacher Wu lowered on the cold ground, his mind burdened with thoughts and regrets that seemed to weigh him down. Throughout the long night, he endured the heaviness, refusing to give in to the silence. As the sun rose, the Grand Teacher returned, his voice echoing with authority as he demanded a confession. He offered Teacher Wu a chance to admit his mistake, warning that the lowing would continue if he remained silent. Night fell once again, and Teacher Wu's resolve finally crumbled. He called out to his teacher, begging for forgiveness and confessing his wrongs. The master, unmoving, remained stoic as Shun Yi stepped in, urging him to reconsider. Under the Grand Teacher's orders, Teacher Wu accompanied him with a solemn expression etched on his face. Shun Yi expressed her relief that her teacher and senior brother had finally let go of their burdens, acknowledging the positive turn of events. As they entered the inner courts, they were greeted by the magnificent sculptures of the Academy's founders, their grandeur captivating all who laid eyes upon them. Shun Yi led them to a tranquil lake surrounded by towering trees, creating a scene straight out of a fairy tale. The air was pure, adding to the enchanting ambiance. The Grand Teacher then teleported them to an island, leaving Wu Lin to wonder if it was the legendary Sea God's Island. Inviting them into his home, the Grand Teacher relaxed with a cup of tea, instructing Shun Ye to accompany Wu Lin and his comrades for registration the next day. With gratitude, Wu Lin and his companions thanked the Grand Teacher in unison, while Teacher Wu remained composed, his demeanor reflecting his inner contemplation. The following day, the Grand Teacher approached Wu directly, inquiring about his plans now that he had brought Wu Lin and his friends. Wu Lin and Z understood Wu's predicament, feeling sorry for the elder. Wu, lowering deeply with his head to the floor, earnestly begged his teacher to let him stay and promised to assist part-time. He vowed to take care of his master, admitting his past mistakes and wanting to spend the rest of his days making amends. With tears in his eyes, he pleaded with the grand teacher to allow him to remain, stating that he could not flee anymore. Recalling their training sessions, Wu recounted the valuable lessons taught by his master and the challenges they overcame together. Touched by his heartfelt pleas, the grand teacher relented and instructed Wu to rise, assigning him the tasks of brewing tea and maintaining the residence. Gratefully, Wu referred to the grand teacher as his mentor, expressing his deep gratitude for the chance to stay. Shen Yi, witnessing the reconciliation between the two, shared in their happiness, relieved to see their conflict resolved. Wu Lin couldn't help but notice the radiant joy on Teacher Wu's face, his eyes shining with newfound happiness. The grand teacher, recognizing Wu Lin's unique physique and the enigma surrounding his golden spirit ring, instructed him to visit weekly for examinations. It was clear that Wu Lin was grateful for this opportunity, as he eagerly accepted the grand teacher's directive for the following week. Acknowledging their delay in taking the exam, the grand teacher reminded them of the arduous journey ahead to become a one-word battle armor master within 6 years. This meant acquiring at least 5 spirit rings. Granting them a night's rest, the grand teacher entrusted Shen Yi with the task of overseeing their registration the next morning, before retiring for the night. Teacher Wu, eager to lend his support, accompanied the grand teacher as they ascended the stairs. The group couldn't help but notice the newfound harmony between them, sensing a deep connection. Intrigued by the reconciliation between Teacher Wu and the grand teacher, Shu turned to Shen Yi for clarification. Shen Yi explained that their differences in beliefs had caused the rift, but now that those issues were resolved, harmony had been restored. Shen Yi stressed the importance of being on Sea God's Island, pointing out that even inner court disciples rarely got such a chance. She warned Gu Yue about her behavior, emphasizing the need to show respect to the senior disciples who had witnessed important events. Wu Lin, holding Gu Yue's hand, echoed Shen Yi's words, acknowledging Gu Yue's impulsiveness during the trial with Elder Kai. He reassured her that Elder Kai's test in the 4th trial was just a show of strength, and that he was not hurt. Gu Yue blushed with embarrassment as Wu Lin held her gently. Understanding that Gu Yue's actions came from concern for him, Wu Lin reminded her that they were a team, and her actions affected them all, just like his deep meditation had led to their transition to working students. He comforted Gu Yue, telling her that Elder Kai had recognized her talent and offered her a great opportunity by showing interest in taking her as a disciple. In response, Gu Yue expressed regret for her impulsiveness and a desire to apologize to Elder Kai. Wu Lin supported her decision, offering his help as they prepared to make amends. Wu Lin's heart overflowed with joy as he tightly embraced Gu Yue, feeling as if a blooming garden of roses surrounded them. Gu Yue blushed with excitement, sensing the undeniable spark of love between them. However, their blissful moment was abruptly interrupted by Z, who eagerly expressed his desire for a hug as well. Annoyed by his intrusion, Gu Yue pushed him away, leaving Z feeling a bit hurt. Curious as to why Wu Lin received a hug while he did not, Gu Yue mischievously declared that Wu Lin was more handsome, much to Z's dismay. Shen Yi watched their interactions with amusement before reminding them to get some rest for the night in preparation for the upcoming registration. As the others settled down, Wu Lin began meditating, holding the spirit-refined heavy silver hammer in his hand. The bond between him and the hammer forged through blood felt extraordinary. His mind wandered to the power of mechas, acknowledging their strength but recognizing that spirit-refined metals remained the ultimate material for forging. Contemplating the significance of forging in creating battle armor, Wu Lin understood that battle armor had revolutionized humanity's strength, even though it had come at the cost of driving spirit beasts to the brink of extinction due to the relentless pursuit of research by the Spirit Pagoda. As Wu Lin delved deeper into his meditation, the spirit-refined heavy silver hammer glowed with radiant golden lines, as if a magnificent golden dragon had materialized around it. This awe-inspiring sight was accomplished through spirit refining, and through the connection with it, the metal would become an inseparable part of his body. Saint blacksmiths held an esteemed position throughout the continent, and their importance rivaled that of 3-word battle armor masters. They played a pivotal role in the creation of battle armor. Although Wu Lin had not yet reached the level of a divine blacksmith, he aspired to attain that pinnacle in his lifetime. With his recent breakthrough in spirit refining, he now possessed the necessary skills to forge his battle armor. Contemplating the possibility of crafting a 2-word battle armor, Wu Lin realized that the spirit power requirements might not be as demanding as he initially believed. Filled with determination, he decided to embark on the task of forging his battle armor, starting with simpler components, one piece at a time. Wu Lin was at a loss for what to name his future battle armor, feeling a bit overwhelmed as he thought about Teacher WU's impressive sky ice armor.